So here we stand, Alex Gookin. This is the site of a 17-point second-half comeback made by the Iowa State Cyclones in the Big 12 Tournament Championship. For the second year in a row, the Cyclones find themselves atop the Big 12 here in March. Alex Gookin, what can you say about a 17-point comeback? What can you say?
Well, it was just an incredible run from Texas to Oklahoma to this. I think personally more impressive than last year's run. They had to go through a buzzer-beating win against a talented Texas team that could make a run in the NCAA tournament.
They could.
Oklahoma's a top 15 team. Kansas, of course, Big 12 champions for 11 straight years in the regular season. So very impressive run. The manner in which they did it was more than thrilling. Double-digit comebacks in each of those games. So I think what's most impressive about this team is that they had a target on their back this time. They are defending Big 12 tournament champions, and to face three of the best teams in the Big 12 and do it in the manner that they did was, I think, just as impressive, if not more impressive, than last year's run.
Well, exactly, because coming into this tournament, technically Iowa State had tied with Oklahoma for second place in the conference. Kansas won the conference in the regular season, so they beat the team they were tied with for second. They beat the team that finished first, and they beat Texas, who was an underachieving team. But I think everyone in the conference, coaches, players, they would admit that Texas probably is the fourth or maybe fifth most talented team. You could throw Baylor in there. They have a lot of talent. They have NBA talent on their team. So the way that run played out, and we kind of felt it, and we said it in the first Big 12 Blabber, like, how does Iowa State lose now? Well, it's not about how they lost, it's about how they win, and you talk about it. It's 5 games in a row now, going back to Oklahoma in the last game at Hilton, the second to last game of the regular season. Iowa State has come back from double-digit defeats, double-digit deficits, I should say. Edit that out. But, or leave it in if it's funnier. I don't care. I'm all about that. But anyways, what we're saying here is just that the way that they're doing this, it just seems like a little bit like they're a team of destiny. And both Jamil and George said tonight, George put it really nicely, and I ended my article with this line. Said, I wonder what could happen if we played 40 minutes in a game. I think that's a question, the answer to which scares the living crap out of everybody in the country. It should. If it doesn't, it should. Because 40 minutes, like the way they played that final 1934, they outscored Kansas, a top 10 team all year, 47-26 over that 19 minutes and 34 seconds. They held them to 26% shooting. They forced 8 turnovers. When they play defense like that, the offense starts rolling. I mean, you should be afraid. If you're not, you should be, because the way that they play it's amazing when they get going and they show you what they're really capable of doing.
And I think defensively, I think this tournament showed what they can do against Oklahoma and Kansas especially. They had runs of defensive basketball, especially even in the first half when they were hitting shots where they were playing tight defense. Bryce DeJean-Jones showed up very well defensively. A ton of players stepped up, and I think their team defense is starting to mold. And to your point about a team of destiny, last year it felt like this, I think, with a lot of fans, because the expectations weren't there. But now that they've made these comeback wins, the fans didn't know if they had this in them. This year, I know leadership and all that was questioned this year, and I think this solidifies that as possibly even more now that with the bench players of Abdel Nader, Bryce DeJean-Jones, and even Matt Thomas. This team is deeper, this team is more talented with Jamil McKay in the lineup, and I think overall this team probably has a better defensive mind as well to make a run. And like you said, if they can get it together for 40 minutes in the NCAA tournament, they're either going to crush whoever they play, or if they play like this against a Kentucky, they've got to watch out, because
they'll stay with them. And like you said, DeJean-Jones and Nader will both be important against those top-level teams, against your Dukes, your Wisconsins, your Virginias, your Kentuckys. You're going to need more than just a couple of guys. That first game, Texas, it was Monte and it was George.
Yep.
You're going to need more. And against Kansas tonight, it was everybody. I mean, it was everybody. And DeJuan Jones has had 2 good games now in a row. Nader does seem to come up big in some big games at Iowa, at West Virginia, here in Kansas City against Kansas. Probably his 3 most notable games of the year. All tough opponents, all rivals. So he shows up when it matters. Iowa State's a very dangerous team, and just on one side note here, I do think we should mention the crowd in here tonight was chanting at the end of the game, Jamie Pollard. He posted a video to Twitter, or I don't know if it was to Twitter initially.
It was at the pep rally.
Okay, and so it was posted everywhere, but man, only a couple days after a triple bypass surgery, looked very strong. Fred Hoiberg said after the game, you know, this one was for him. So Iowa State's really rallying behind this team. They're also rallying behind their athletic director. So just a great weekend overall. A lot of fun. We were very busy, but we had a great time, and I think we might even continue this in the NCAA tournament. We'll see.
Yeah, so thank you for following, and hopefully we will see you in the NCAA tournament.